Let's look at this very interesting use case. This is a dynamic table designed using presentation variable. These three are slicer component within Encarta, and slicer component is using a presentation variable. So I have three presentation variable, pdim1, pdim2 and pdim3. If you look at this here, you will notice that these are the three presentation variable, and they have list of values that I have designed here. You can modify this as well. You can add it in bulk, you can add and remove values here, and it will show up in the drop down once you go back. So in the drop down, it shows me list of values. So these are different dimensions which I want to use in this table. But this is interesting here. This first column here is mapped to this one. If I change anything here, it will change in this column as well. And this is mapped to this column, and this drop down, whatever I select, is mapped to this column here. Okay. So now why it is interesting? What is so special about this table? So of course you can dynamically select different dimensions here and see sales by any of these three dimensions that you pick and choose from here. But what's also interesting in this table is I'm calculating total sales, which is mapped to this column. So whenever I select anything from here, this total sales will be for this particular dimension that I select here. So for example, this is department. If I select region here, this total sales will be for region. Okay. In a minute, I'll tell you why this is important. And this total sales is mapped to this column. So whatever dimension I select for this column, this total sales will show me total sales for whatever I selected here. For example, I selected category. Total sales for category in the East region is this much. Now, once you are able to calculate this total sales for product is very easy, right? Now this will give you ability to calculate percentage of total. Now if I want to see, okay, let's select a particular store, and store I want to see a particular department, and department product is already selected, right? Now I want to do this analysis where which product for any product here, what is the percent of total sales by store, right? So this is telling me that this is like bagels is 1.36% of the total sales in store A1, right? But if I want to see this by department, what is the percent of total sales by department? Because bagels belong to bakery department, this is 6.52% of the total sales in this department, right? And this is dynamic. This will keep changing. So for example, here, if I want to select category and then see percent of total sales for category, so maybe let's select category here and then change this to department. Now bakery is a department where within category. So now this is showing you like maximum percent of sales by store is for bakery, but also bakery has 32% total sales within this category, right? Now, not only this, you can also bookmark this. For example, I have bookmarked region, state and store. If I select this, now it's showing me region, state and store. It picks up automatically using this bookmark and showing me all of this information here. If I want to pick store, category and product, it will change this here. So any business user can pick and choose different combination. They can bookmark, they can come back here and look at this. Not only this, if I want to see this information for a particular, say, gender, customer gender, let's look at female here. Click on apply. Now this will filter all this data for female. So this is dynamic. Any way you can slice and dice this data and use this dynamic table. Now, how is this done? It's pretty easy and straightforward. You might have already guessed it because these are presentation variable. That means I can have this dimension. This is a formula here. And inside this formula, it's just pretty straightforward. Based on what user selects, I am returning that particular column from the business view, right? Now, once I've designed this, again, same thing apply for all of these three different formula columns that I'm using here. Now, interesting thing here is you have this total sales, how am I calculating, right? So this is level of detail kind of scenario. Now I'm grouping by this formula. This one is exactly same what I'm using here, right? So this total sales is mapped to whatever dimension I select here, right? So if I select region, total sales for region will be shown here. And same thing for this as well. Total sales is mapped to both of these dimensions, right? Because I'm grouping by 2 dimension, and then for third one, I can, so this dimension and this dimension, grouping by these two, and then that's how it shows total sales for state, right? So this group by function can also take input as this particular input. So group by is also the parameter here for group by is also dynamic. That's why this is working here, right? Now, once you have the total sales, it's simply to calculate percent of total. It's just sum of sales for whatever the third dimension is divided by total sales. And that's how you calculate the percentage.